On Peschardt's Business People Asia, we go inside the Bollywood film industry with Kishore Lulla, Executive Chairman of Eros International.
There are many rules in business. There's only one rule for it. There's rule number one in business is don't lose money. Then the rule number two is follow rule number one. That's it. There's no other rule.
This week I've come to London to meet, strangely enough, the man who's done more than anyone else to make the Bollywood film industry an international phenomenon. Kishore Lulla is the man responsible for many of Bollywood's biggest hits. His company produces, finances and distributes films on a grand scale. The last 4 or 5 years has seen enormous growth in the Indian film industry. He's convinced there's much more to come.
I think the growth is going to come. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg in the Indian film industry.
Really?
Yeah. I think the growth has not even started yet.
Kishore Lulla was immersed in films from childhood. He studied law in Mumbai before moving to set up Eros International in Britain in 1977. He was the first to distribute Indian films on the international market and has since won numerous awards, including India's version of an Oscar for his services to Indian cinema. I met up with Kishore near his head office, now situated in a prestigious corner of West London.
The Wallace collection is just around the corner.
Yeah.
And what was amazing was the EMI offices when the Beatles and everything, you could see that building there.
So the Beatles were over there?
Yeah, that's about 40 years ago, 50 years. So EMI building was that one. You could see that small balconies there.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at those balconies, that's where the Beatles used to stand and wave.
Oh, look, I think I can remember those shots, yes. And there'll be huge crowds here.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Oh, wow. So you're right in the sort of the heart of the entertainment capital here.
Yeah, I love this square, and the square is always good.
Yeah. I mean, when you started your business, you weren't sort of next door to the Beatles, were you?
No, not at all.
What was it like then?
I think we had a very, very humble beginning, but I think we are truly integrated media company today. India's first vertically integrated, whereby we distribute our own movies, we produce our own movies, we commission them, and we're not dependent on anyone else to exploit the content. So the way I work always that I make a wish list at the end of the year, saying that this is my next 10-year plan, the next 5-year plan, and then we have small plans that, okay, how do we make baby steps?
Yeah.
And I think, yes, in 1980s, you know, when we started and saying, okay, we'll build this, I could have never planned it 30 years later, where we'll be. Yeah. Yes, definitely. In the next 10 years, I could see that, you know, how the company is going and where the company can go. But always plan baby steps and have a grand vision. And I think if you have the team and you have the desire in your heart and the hard work and honesty, you'll be there.
It's wonderfully discreet, your front door, because you wouldn't know that there was anything here, really, would you?
I think it was Lord Milner's houses in, I think, 1739 or 1839, I'm not sure.
So it's very historical.
Very historical, yes.
5, 6, 7, 8.
I'd arrived at a particularly busy time. There were numerous projects on the go, including a new film, Desi Boys, which was being shot in Britain. Kishore was most anxious that I visit the set. The bulk of his films are shot in India, but everything is orchestrated from here. This is your office?
Yes, this is where I work from.
It's a lovely, lovely office, isn't it?
Thank you.
Fantastic. I mean, it looks, I mean, it's absolutely spotlessly clean and very elegant. Over here, I know you've got a lot of other awards in other places, but these are some of yours, aren't they?
Yeah, there's some of the awards we got. Some are the movie awards and some are the businessman of the year, or the entrepreneur of the year.
There are lots of things that I'm fascinated about. One is that the stars in Bollywood, film stars everywhere, sometimes can be difficult personalities. Or am I wrong or right about that? But you seem to get on with them, and I'm wondering how.
No, I think I've never found any of the stars we worked with in our lives to be difficult. They're very nice and simple people. I think it's all about the relationship, you know, you have with anyone, you know, whether it's a star or whether it's a common person or whether it's anyone in life. I just feel like we are all one family. The whole film industry is one family, and we take care of each other, and we love each other. That's how the family works, right? And I think the film industry is one big family.
It must be difficult though, because the stars are just so loved by the public, aren't they?
Yeah.
That must be quite difficult for them, to stay grounded, to stay real.
When it comes to work, they forget the outside public life and they give their devotion to the total work. And I think they have that kind of distance between their work life or private life and public life.
The working life of a Bollywood star is very hard, very long hours. I've been on a few sets. I know. I mean, it goes very late at night, all of that.
You see, I think the industry is maturing in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
You see, what is the difference between Hollywood and Bollywood today? A lot of differences. But Hollywood plans their project well. Hollywood spends a lot of time on screenplay writing.
Yeah.
And also a lot of time on pre-planning and pre-production.
He wanted me to see some of the films of which he is most proud. So we headed down to his private screening room. There is something faintly reassuring that one of the most powerful men in world cinema struggles, like me, with getting a DVD to actually play.
How do we play?
We've got pictures.
Sorry?
We've got pictures. Skin lightening cream, farm.
Oh yeah, it's playing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So this movie will start. This is one of my favorite movies, which is last year.
Yeah.
Love Aajkal. It's got Saif Ali Khan and Deepika Padukone. Did very well on the box office. It's one of the major hits.
Love story by the look of it.
Yeah, love story. All the Indian films are love stories.
Yes,
right?
I was going to say, they sort of seemingly are. Like, one of the sort of criticisms, or whatever people say is about the Bollywood films, is that they're not terribly realistic.
See, I think we Indians are very emotional people, correct?
Yeah. I'm loving this scene, by the way.
And we express our emotions very openly, and in a very big manner, right?
Yeah.
So I think everything is emoted properly, and that's what you see in the movies, right?
Right.
So the same movies like in Hollywood was in 30s, right? So it's escapism cinema.
Do you think that Bollywood will eventually go to the more realistic, gritty type of film?
I think we've got the talent in India which can creatively create movies like Hollywood at 10% of the cost.
How do you do that?
Because of I think the talent is like the software industry, correct? How the Indian software industry is taken over the whole world. A big Bollywood movie which cost about $10 million to make will definitely, if it was a Hollywood movie, will cost $50 to $100 million.
Right, because looking at the production values there, and you're filming in London again?
Yeah, this is London.
Which all looks beautiful. Everything about it looks beautiful.
Yes.
That's very, very high production values, great locations, expensive place to film.
Yeah.
And yet you're doing it cheaper.
Yeah. See, is again the creative crew.
Yeah.
And the people, their salaries are quite low. And we have profit sharing with most of the talent and most of the crew also we work with. And so we keep the cost low. This is produced by Saif Ali Khan, who is acting in this.
Yeah.
He's produced this movie. And normally...
He seems to be getting on quite well with that girl, by the way.
Yes.
Which is good news. Yeah, sorry.
So, normally, see, early, 10 years ago, the actors used to make movies, work in the movies, and they used to take a flat fee. And there was a lot of mistrust happening between the producers, distributors, and the actors, because there was no actually finite way of finding out how the film is done. Like in Hollywood, there's a full system. You have AC Nielsen reporting the grosses, and there's a full transparency. And that's when, Eros played a major part we wanted to bring in the co-production model, whereby we will make the talent as our partner, so he can keep on getting something for the rest of his life.
How much could they make from this, do you reckon?
The actors could make anywhere from $3 million to $5 million to $7 million.
I'm in the wrong game, aren't I?
Ready? Boss ki call!
5, 6, 7, 8.
Camera! Cut!
There may be rich rewards for some, but the most striking thing about any film set is just how time-consuming a process the whole business is. And these are amongst the fastest and most professional in the business. After much hanging around, we did see the shot finally being captured.
Cameras! Lovely. Fantastic.
One of the things that sets Kishore's company apart is its eye for detail. As little as possible is left to chance. Special test screenings for members of the public are constantly being arranged to ensure what they're doing will be popular.
We have a full questionnaire.
Yeah.
What they liked, what is not, it's totally like a science.
Yeah.
And then we can evaluate. And in fact, we have screening rooms whereby we could watch their expression also while watching the movie, so we can, judge that.
Right, so you sort of like have a camera watching the audience?
Yes.
That's extraordinary.
Yes.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, we have that.
Do you change a film once you've...
Yes.
You do?
Yeah. We will change the edit. It has happened many times that we've changed the edit of the movie. Why not? That's what, it's end of the day, it's the audience which decides everything, whether the movie is a hit or a flop.
It's interesting, you said it's a science. So it's a science more than an art now, or...?
Art is important. See, art is the creation when you've got the script. So that's the art, and when you make the movies. When the movie is ready, and when audiences gives you feedback, then it becomes a science. That's how you place it out. What sort of audiences will love it? Which type of audiences will, have that? How much money on the P&A should be spent on this? How you should release the movie? Then it becomes a science.
The only thing that worries me, does it take the genius out of it? Do you know what I mean? Surely, as the Bollywood mogul, you should sort of be saying, I want this, this and this.
No, see, I don't think so. That's the right. I think it's the audience. Audience decide. You are just a medium and a channel, correct?
Right.
The day I start thinking that I decide and I do everything, I think that's the end of it. That means the vanity and ego comes in.
After the break, more with Kishore Lulla and why Hollywood needs to take Indian cinema extremely seriously. Welcome back. We're with Kishore Lulla, the man credited more than any other with turning Indian cinema into a truly global industry. The figures are staggering. About 1,200 full feature films are made in Bollywood each year. Audience figures are sometimes hard to audit, but nearly 4 billion tickets were sold last year, whereas Hollywood sold around 3.2 billion. The top 10 Bollywood films grossed over $160 million. Kishore is convinced the growth has barely started.
You see, you have 1.1 billion people in India, and out of which 400 million in middle class, 40 million joining the middle class every year. That's our target audience. Three things are very big in India. You can ask. One is cricket, religion, movies. Correct. These are the three big things.
That's the holy trinity.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then you have 50 million South Asian diaspora outside of India.
Yeah.
And they are watching Indian movies. Then you have 27 different other countries. They are dubbing Indian movies into their local languages, like, how Hollywood even dub. The movies get dubbed into the local languages.
Sure.
Germany, Poland, Russia. Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, just to name a few countries.
Sure.
So the Indian movies, even the audiences are expanding. We sold, actually, India sold 3.9 billion tickets last year,
Yeah.
which was more than Hollywood, 3.2 billion.
Right.
But the only difference was the average ticket price is less than $1 in India, whereby the average ticket price in US is $6 to $7.
Right, so it's still 6 to 7 times
Yes.
in terms of the individual.
And as long as you'll have the middle class getting the money in their wallet, they can spend. You have the multiplexes anyway in Delhi or Mumbai or in the metro cities in India, having a ticket price of $4 to $5. So that's there. But there are 13,000 screens, single screens, and 1,500 multiplex screens in India. And you'll see in the next 5 to 10 years more and more multiplexes coming in.
His vision of the future of Indian cinema is beguiling. More multiplex screens, showing more films to more people, all paying more for the experience. It could all add up to a shift in the balance of power in the international entertainment industry.
I think it is inevitable that Bollywood and Hollywood will amalgate in the next 10-20 years. And then you will see this industry in India, which is at $15 billion today, which is growing at about 25% CAGR. In the next 10 years, could be at $100 billion. And these are big numbers.
Huge numbers.
And once that happens, the marriage between Hollywood and Bollywood will take place. So I think, and you have seen that.
When you say the marriage between them, who's going to take over who?
That time can only, you see, if I told you 30 years ago that the Japanese car industry could take over the world, could you believe me?
So what you're saying is it could easily be the Bollywood taking over the Hollywood?
I don't know. I cannot really say, but I think Bollywood will be of a size, definitely, which will matter to the world.
But it's not impossible, in your view, that the Warner Brothers, all the other big Hollywood studios could one day actually be owned by the Indian film industry?
Yeah, why not? I think Brand India, we are, today very, very thankful, actually, that how the Indians have performed in the last 10 years, in every field. We work hard and we strive for the success.
What are we seeing now? There are lots of images on the screen.
Yes, just the showreel of our company.
Right.
Yes, you're seeing that.
So these are your greatest hits that we're seeing?
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Because there are quite a few hits, aren't there?
Yeah.
What is it that's made you successful?
I think hard work,
Yeah.
honesty, and definitely the luck factor.
The luck factor?
The God has been with me. I think the success only comes if God up above thinks you deserve it, and then only you'll get it.
That's very sincere,
Yeah,
your
very
feelings
sincere.
in that.
Yeah, definitely.
And what do you think you may have done to deserve the success?
I always believe that I'm God's child, and God will never put me into any worse situation. He will put me into the best situation, whatever I deserve at that time.
And that sort of faith that you have in your God,
Yeah.
how would you describe that in terms of a religion that you have?
I think the religion is only one. I think all religions have preached the same, is humanity. I think if you have one religion, which is love thy neighbor like yourself, rest is history. That's what it is.
But in business, it's sort of such a competitive world. You're involved in a highly competitive world.
Yeah.
So loving your neighbour and whatever and doing is good for your competitor, how can that work?
I think I've really followed it, you'll not believe it. I've really followed that the people we do business with. I always feel that when you do a deal, I can get sometimes a better deal, let's assume, but you have to do a fair deal. When you do a fair deal, the major important thing in a deal is that the person you're dealing with has to also be happy. If he's not happy, I'm 100% sure I'll not make money on the deal.
यहाँ जब आप इस छुरी से इस pan fried
Kishore is a rare man. He's surrounded by glamour, great fame and rich rewards, but he seems entirely unaffected. His company, which is now publicly listed, is by far the leading player in an industry which requires both a touch of genius and a level head.
I will never retire.
Really?
Yeah. See, I think you got to work till the last day of your life.
Why is that?
Because work is my passion. I love it. I love making movies. I love distributing them. I love, doing the corporate side of it, financing, and how do we increase the value of the shareholders and increase the value for the family. I love all that.
What is it that sort of keeps you up at night worrying? Does anything keep you up at night worrying?
Not at all. It takes me, my wife tells me, it takes me 2 minutes. I hit the pillow, I go to sleep. I'm a good sleeper. You see, my philosophy is that nothing is bad for you. So why should you worry? Anything which happens, happens for good. Now, if you are of a belief that anything which happens for you is for good for you, how can you worry?
Well, it's a very, very good philosophy. It's obviously worked very well for you. Thank you so much for being on the programme. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The thing that most strikes you about Kishore is the complete lack of ego, the complete lack of pretension. He is a deeply spiritual man. He's a very devout Hindu. And that has shaped everything he's done in his business and everything throughout his life. Next week, we move out of the business world to meet the first woman ever to be appointed the Governor-General of Australia. Her Excellency Quentin Bryce. She's with me here next week.
To watch more, log on to www.erosentertainment.com.